Camera right. All right, Gemini. Welcome to your August 2023 Zodiac reading. We got 3 more left to go. Gemini, Taurus, Aries. I'm pointing this out at the beginning of every reading. For patrons, there will be a hemisync. This is a technology meant to synchronize both hemispheres of your brain, left and right, together. There will be a special hemisync track attached to your Zodiac reading when it's posted on the Patreon. Go and download an application for your iPhone called Vox, V-O-X. That will allow you to listen to uncompressed lossless files, .flac files, which is the format they will come in. And you want the high quality for the sounds and tones that are generated. To hear them, it is going to be specifically picked out for you, Gemini. They will be posted on the Patreon either late tonight or early tomorrow when these are all posted on the Patreon. So be sure to check those out. They're specifically selected for your sign. So the astrological goings-ons for this month of August and for the cards that are pulled, they're going to be related. So I don't know what they are yet, but I'm going to pick it out after this reading is done, and you can go and check that out at patreon.com/synchronicity. If you're watching these and you're not a patron, don't worry. I'm leaving them up on YouTube for you to check out. You can go to youtube.com/Noah Lampert, my name, and you can watch all of the replays there. I am not gating them yet. At some point, I may gate them, maybe in September or October. I'm not sure, but right now they're free to watch for everyone, including the replays. A note, the live streams that we do on the weekly basis will remain just for patrons, so those are not posted for everyone. So a little incentive to join the Patreon, which is growing nicely now. We're getting it back up there, eh? All right, Gemini, let's get August going. You got a month. Now, overall, emotionally, it is a very positive month. It's not something we're going to be meeting a ton of resistance, a ton of energy, but we do have a lot of retrograde planets going on, including your ruling planet of Mercury goes retrograde as soon as Virgo season kicks off on August 23rd. So Mercury retrograde, we're all familiar with it, you know, a little communications issues, electronics may be weird, delays, local travel, a lot of traffic, stuff like that. But for you, Gemini, you get hit especially hard because it is your ruling planet, and you probably are familiar with the perils of Mercury retrograde. So it's okay. It's not, we'll see how it fits into all of the goings-ons for this month, but it's just something to be aware of, and there will be some stuff to have to navigate that you will be navigating. Okay, so solitude really comes into focus for you in this month. That is not to say you will not be communing with friends. You will not be dealing with your social circle in a lot of positive ways. It's just you're going to want to take some alone time for yourself. You are a very social animal. Almost everyone is friends with the Gemini, and they love being friends with Gemini. You're just a fun person to be around. You know, your shadow side can have a bit of jealousy involved with it, but really people don't mind too much because you're just a fun person to be around. You're sociable. You're cool. We like it, right? So just make sure you speak directly and state your desires clearly. And that goes for the whole month, not just during Mercury retrograde. That's going to especially come into focus when Mercury retrograde happens on the 23rd. But even the entire month, really speak directly and clearly to people in your life. That will make things go a lot easier for you during the month of August. And just like it'll mitigate a lot of the potential communication issues that may come up. So loved ones are also way more willing to listen to you this month than typically, right? That means they're going to be receptive to your ideas, your feelings, your communications. So take the chance to really express yourself and get your feelings and thoughts across, because people are going to want to hear what you have to say. They're open and responsive to what you're communicating. Okay. You may have some friends who turn into more than friends just for this month, right? Virgo season is an interesting one for you, Mercury. So if you have like hookups, or maybe there's been this sexual tension between you and some people in your social group, this could be acquaintances or close friends, and maybe it bubbles up into a little bit of chemistry there. Don't be surprised. And it doesn't necessarily mean this is going to turn into a long-lasting relationship, but that may indeed happen. So just be aware, you know, the sexual energy is going to be kind of potent this month, and you may be attracting people that you didn't even realize you were attracting. On the converse side of that, there may be people in your social group who also hook up, who also kind of get together and form tighter bonds. Your goal there is not to feel left out, not to feel like you're being, left in the dust. Try not to get jealous, okay? That's your shadow side. Just try your best to be happy for other people. I know when, you're in a trio or a group of people and people break off and go and do their own thing, you kind of feel like you're left out and like, oh, just, it's not really what it's about. It's just there's going to be this energy floating about and you may be involved in it, but you may not be, and just kind of let that simmer and let it be. And I think you'll be able to enjoy it for you and everyone else. Okay. Also, be very clear in terms of like, think before you react. Really take a step back before you start getting into it and spewing out stuff to other people that is not going to serve you. Pause before you speak. Pause before you act. Your communication is going to be quite fine for most of the month, but then it may get a little bit murky towards the latter third of the month. So just really make sure you're taking the time to think before you act. It's the thumper paradigm, right? From Bambi, just make sure maybe you shouldn't say it if you don't have anything nice to say. You know what I mean? So attention is definitely coming your way. People will be focusing on you, and this is really going to become present on the second full moon of the month, which is August 30th, when the full moon is in Pisces. And that means people are going to really be looking to you for you to shine and kind of lead the way. So your communication skills will be on full display. You'll be ready to go, ready to share, ready to lead. Just step into that role confidently, and you should just be doing A-okay. Let go of your limiting beliefs, though. That's where some of the trouble may begin to come in. If there is to be trouble to be experienced, it's just going to be like, don't like limit yourself. Don't restrict your ability to do things that you want to do. That's not the right approach. This also was a bit of a theme for Cancer, like space, not less space. So this isn't about like focusing on little things and just like notching off little things. Dream bigger, dream better, and just don't restrict that, okay? Now, the only thing I want to say about that is Mercury is going to be facing off with Saturn. So you're going to really want to start thinking about how to balance what you want to happen with what you need to do. And Saturn here is going to be a force that is really getting you to focus on that throughout the month of August. So not the whole month of August, but like the last 2/3 of it. So this means that, yes, you have some big goals, stuff you haven't done yet that you do want to do. That balance is going to be a key theme throughout the month. So just really like, stay open and receptive to how you can balance those themes, okay? On August 9th, Mercury is in a harmonious aspect with Jupiter, so stay open to intuitive downloads and also information that may come to you in your dreams. This would also be a decent time to listen to that hemisync stuff because you're going to maybe get or just dreamlike state. That's where a lot of stuff will be flowing to you, and that's August 9th for you when Jupiter is in a harmonious aspect with Mercury, your ruling planet. All right. The new moon in Leo is August 16th, and this is also a really good opportunity to process thoughts about what's really important to you. Really ask yourself, like, what's actually meaningful for me in life? Like, what do I want to prioritize? Do I want to prioritize my relationships, my career? There's not at the exclusion of other things, but what do you is going to be August 16th, and that means 2 weeks later you get that full moon in Pisces. That's when to realize and process and kind of reassess how have you done related to those goals. How have you either been in line with what's going on, or where have you dropped the ball a little bit? Okay, if an ex jumps back into your life in the last part of the month, don't jump too soon at that, okay? It's not a trap necessarily, but it's also not an invitation to get back with them. And this could go for ex-friend, ex-partner, ex-business partner. Just be a little cautious about jumping back into that energy. It's right in the middle of Mercury retrograde. There's a lot of emotions flying around with full moon in Pisces. Just yeah, it's a good time to step back and assess whether this is actually a good decision or not, okay? If you feel stuck or at a crossroads, a little bit of resistance in terms of what you're trying to do, just remember this is a temporary state. It is not something that is going to continue through into September, into the later months. It's just something that, we all get stuck sometimes. We all are asked to kind of check in with our alignment and our attunement and see how we're doing. And this is just a real invitation for you to break these things down into smaller medication and perseverance. Right? Make sure you have enough time for the stuff you want to get done. Make sure you're actually dedicated and your full heart is in it. And make sure you persevere in whatever is going on. Your resiliency is going to be a key skill that you rely on. Don't give up on things too easily. Don't just like say, oh, it's too hard, I don't want to do it. Don't buy into that side of yourself. Buy into the side that goes, no, I can do this. And if it's not always like a blast and you're having so much fun and it's just like, it's about getting to the place. It's not just about the rewards and the goodies you get when you finally get what you want. Okay. Also, right, people will be willing to list carte blanche. You're not just listening to everything everyone else has to say about how you can run your life and how you're doing and whatnot. No, but just be open to hearing their perspectives, because ultimately it's going to allow you to make a more informed decision about the things that you care about. Okay. Any turbulence that's going on this month will absolutely stabilize towards the end of the month. And that includes that Mercury retrograde that's still going to be going on. But any turbulence, any kind of like, that's going to really smooth out as you move into that full moon in Pisces, and August 30th and September should be a lot smoother. So yes, you do have some blippy, but it's not a lot of down. Okay. There's not a lot of down energy in August for you. It's just maybe a little bit bumpy at times, and that's okay. We can deal with that. It's not always a straight shot up month. I think I've done 10 of these readings now. This is the 10th one. I think maybe 1 or 2 signs had like just a very smooth, clear picture with almost nothing in them. I don't even know that, maybe just 1. Okay. So feelings, it's wise to tune into your feelings, because they're going to give you an indication of how the rest of your life and how the rest of your days are going to go in August. Okay. So don't do things just for the mental gratification or the logical gratification of stuff. Your feelings are going to be your barometer. Make sure you're checking in with them and see how you feel about everything that you are engaging in. And speaking of engaging, this is a good month to engage in social activities, right? Virgo season is great for that. Leo season is great for that. Don't be too alone. Yes, you're going to want to take some time for yourself. That's essential. Get out and do stuff. I mean, listen, like I said, there could be some flings coming on. You may even hook up with some friends. You're not sure, but something like that could definitely be in the cards. And we'll see what's actually in the cards in a minute. And setbacks, just remember, they're temporary. With determination and resiliency, you will emerge victoriously. That's the main thing. If you find difficult energy and you give up, you're just admitting defeat there. But if you find difficult energy and you encounter difficult energy and you're resilient and you're determined, you will power through it really quickly. Nothing's going to stop you, and you're going to be able to, get back on the horse. That's the theme for this month, but it's not a lot. I think you should find it to be a pretty pleasurable and fun month. And it should be like, it's the end of summer. We're winding up in August here, moving into September, the fall. These are the dog days of summer. Just like enjoy it. You're allowed to enjoy it, Gemini. You're a social creature. Please don't restrict yourself in activities. Do the stuff that's fun. Have a good time. And just don't get too like down if things don't work out exactly the way you want them to. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit about the 3 of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, 7 of Swords is like sometimes taking a bit of a shortcut, sometimes getting away with something. We see the man taking the swords from a military camp, most likely, tiptoeing away like the Pink Panther. This isn't necessarily a bad thing that he's doing. He might be taking these swords so these people can't fight or harm other people. We don't get the clearest picture of what's going on, but it is a bit of sneakiness, right? It's a very mercurial card. It's a very Gemini card. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's just you may be taking a shortcut to get your way when you're trying to do something. And that's perfectly acceptable in this case. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. Now, if you feel like you're doing something wrong while you're engaging in kind of some secrets or clandestine activities, acknowledge that. Don't put it aside. That's not what it's about. 3 of Pentacles, again, points to that communion, coming together with people, working on group projects, hanging out with friends. Collaboration is the key word there. You're going to want to get out there this month, and you're going to want to tackle some things together with other people. Your community and the people you choose to be around are incredibly important for you, Gemini, and you don't want to be too aloof when dealing with them. This isn't really the month to just go and do things on your own. Yes, some of the emotional work you're going to want to process yourself, solo, but for the most part, every activity you engage in should involve some type of collaboration, because you're going to benefit from hearing other people's opinions, and they're certainly going to benefit from hearing your opinions. Okay. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles, which is this is that stepwise dealing with stuff, then working with them, not letting this big, overwhelming, generalized picture dominate your perspective, but how do you break down tasks into individual components and then work on those to see the bigger picture of what's going on? And this certainly applies to your aspirations, your big thing culminates and kind of shows up in your life, you know how to deal with it because you're going to have built up all of these different strategies and formats and ways to deal with stuff rather than being overwhelmed when this big thing comes into your life. That's what you want to be. You want to be able to lean on all these things you've learned. That's the destination. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, there's that imbalance just a little bit for you with the Chariot reversed. There we have the Seven of Pentacles. A lot of Pentacles. Could be some money stuff. And the Three of Wands. And that makes a lot of sense there. So again, the Chariot there is pointing to that, a little bit of that turbulence, a little bit of unbalance. You're really going to want to work on your level head. Help you really take the time to slow down and process information and process your emotions before you react to anything. Listen, it's not going to all turn to shit if you just react. You're a Gemini. You may just react to something. It's not always the easiest thing to do, to take a step back and slow yourself down. I get that. Mercury is a very quick moving planet. My Mercury is on my midheaven in Leo. It's why I talk this fast. It's why I communicate. But slowing yourself down for the month of August is going to be something that can mitigate situations that may get you into a tricky spot if you're not careful. So please just slow it on down. Try to achieve that balance and that equanimity so you can move to the places you want to move to without having to take all these crazy winding detour routes, right? Does that make sense? I think it does. Here we have the Seven of Pentacles, right? It is the seven. Yes, it's the Seven of Pentacles. And this is just saying, like, don't get impatient, okay? You're going to be planting a lot of seeds this month, and these seeds will eventually evolve into the fruits of your labors. Don't plant the seeds and then dig them up and saying, why haven't you grown into the thing that I want you to? Patience, resiliency, and persistence are how things are born into this world. Everything has its period of birth, right? For humans, it's 9 months. For horses, I think it's like 10 months or 11 months. Every single thing has its gestation and germination period before it sprouts and shows you the thing it's going to be. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you may be noticing the plants you planted 2-3 months ago are now beginning to give you wonderful, yummy goodies like cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, all these things. But it takes time to do that. We don't dig up the seeds along the way and say, where the fuck are my peppers at? That's not what you're doing. That doesn't really help anything. So just remember to be patient, not to get too frustrated if you're not seeing the results in the areas of your life that you would like to. I have my ting here today, the Jamaican delicious beverage, sparkling grapefruit. I love it. It's my indulgence for the month. Oh, geez, we didn't start this. I'm sorry. The end of the month really shapes up for you to focus on what it is you would like to see going forward. There's a lot of good stuff available to you if you put in the time to envision what it is that you want. Okay? But without that clear goal, without that clear visionary aspect to determining what's important to you, what you would like to see in the space ahead of you, it's not going to happen. Things will not just show up and happen to you because you think they will. That's not really how it works. Or you have an inkling or a notion that something, yes, things will happen, but how specifically are they actually going to happen? What are the outcomes going to be? This has to be a felt, internalized belief based on some concrete desire or vision that you are constantly kind of putting energy to. Now, once you have that state, once you have that vision that you are trying to appropriate, then you can take a step back and go, okay, I'm clear on what it is. I don't have to actively work on this every single day. But until that state is crystallized and you have that clear vision about what it is you want, you got to keep working towards that. And the Three of Wands reminds us, like, you look out into this world, you look out into these empty blank spaces, which is the future, and you plant and produce culmination of all of the energy you have built up through August, right? The emotional things, the intellectual and logical things. Take that energy, shape it into what it is you want to see and envision in the world, place it there in your future. And you got a pretty pleasant month. It's not going to be, I know I keep mentioning there's some turbulence and some stuff. It's mainly just down to your reactions, right? If you react constantly, if you buck against things, if you fight against things, then yeah, it may be a little more turbulent than you desire or you want it to be. But for the most part, it's kind of up to you. You get to shape how this August is going to go. It's not like raining down shitstorm. This goes as well as you want it to go. It's not like the clear You know, there's so much stuff going on where it's like, oh shit, oh my god, like how am I going to deal with this? It's really just like up to you in terms of how you react in any given situation that will determine your success. Okay. Vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. And this again goes down to breaking things down into their component parts so you don't miss anything. Don't just gloss over things this month, Gemini. We like this. Chameleon spirit, act as if. And this is speaking to the power of like, what would you be like if you had the thing you wanted? Pretend. Go in your imagination and say, okay, I have all the resources I need to achieve whatever it is I want in my life. And here's the real truth. You do. They may not be right in front of you right now, but you do have access to them. So if they were there, if you could reach out and touch them, what would your plan be like? What would you be doing? How would you be acting? What would your day look like? Who would your friends look like? Who would your partner look like? All of those things. And act as if, you know, you're not a crazy person saying, hey, look at my yacht, look at my jet. You know, if those are the things that you aspire to, they're not there. You're not, you know, Don Quixote pretending things are there that aren't there to play out some melodrama. It's just how that many people overlook because they think it's just daydreaming or imaginary or something that's not real. And no, that's just how things evolve and we create things in the world. You'll notice that people who believe they can do often do. And people who believe they cannot do often have trouble doing. So just try to get into the mindset where you're able to tackle whatever you want. And I would certainly, if I were you, Gemini, apply that to the realm of really being able to take a step back before you react to anything. That's their biggest task in August. And then armadillo spirit. We don't get this one a lot. Set healthy boundaries. And this goes to being very clear and very direct in your communication with others, especially during the first part of the month of August, and what you're not okay with. If you don't communicate those, I mean, I don't know. What do you want? What do you want to do? How do you expect people to react? How do you expect people to know exactly what it is that you want? So just take the time to do that. That's especially important when Mercury goes retrograde on the 23rd of August, because then we have all of those additional challenges having to do with setbacks and detours and miscommunication. So really take the first part of the month here, first 2/3 of the month, to be very clear with your friends, family, loved ones, bosses, in terms of respect for the things that are important to you, right? You need to communicate those. You can't just think of them in your head and expect people to mind read exactly what it is that you want, okay? We'll do some threads of fate. Yeah, but you got a pretty pleasurable month. I can feel that, Gemini. Everyone likes a Gemini, is the truth. Like, you know, you guys are fun. You're cool. Yes, you have your shadow side. Yes, you can kind of be an angel one minute and a devil the other. I have 2 Gemini sons, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they are adorable, and I love them. But boy, oh boy, can they be little demons sometimes. Out of nowhere. So sweet, so angelic, and then boom. Holy shit, what the fuck happened? And that's just how Geminis are. But that's an alluring thing. And so you should enjoy it in yourself. Just don't let it get out of whack and out of tune to the point where, you know, you're scaring people or people think you're a dick. The Seeker. And this is really seeking out what is important to you, taking the time to search for the things that are meaningful to you. And if you don't have a sense of what's important to you right now, don't be afraid to go out and look for it. Don't be afraid to engage in new experiences, new groups of friends, new types of people, where you're feeling inspired, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling confident about the things that you want and want to experience, so you can go out and get them. Okay? Speak truth again. Reaffirming that you need to communicate what is important to you. If you hold that back, dodgy and a little sketchy, it's because you have not communicated. I can almost guarantee you that if you are very clear and vocal about what it is you want and what it is you don't want this month, you're not going to have too many kind of things bubble up and fuck your shit up. I can guarantee that. But if you don't do that, if you leave it to just, you know, the ether and or just letting things go and not saying what's important to you, yeah, you're going to get some more turbulence this month, because it is about really establishing yourself and being clear with other people and yourself about what's important to you. So you can't just like expect people to know that. And power for you. And that's where your power is. You're pretty much unstoppable when you are speaking your truth, right? You can't be stopped. I mean, you can be, but you can stop yourself. No one is going to stop you. You can only be figured out by you. No one is going to come and say, hey, Gemini, this is what you should be doing. This is what you really want. You wouldn't listen to it. You wouldn't respect it. You wouldn't give that person the time of day. So that leaves it up to you in terms of determining like, hey, this is actually what's important to me. I need to know that if I want to step into my power, be in my power place, really get my shit together, I got to communicate clearly what it is that I want. Here we go. We'll pull a Nature's Whispers. Very explicit cards. Not a lot of room for interpretation. And show your support. Yes, 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 yes. And this is a reciprocal card, semi-sync thing you're getting this month, Gemini. I know it very clearly. It's about communication, and it's about really expressing your gratitude for those in your life who have helped you, and they will express it back to you. It's a very reciprocal relationship. It's something that when you make a move, someone else will make a move. Someone else makes a move, you will make a move. It's amazing. I live in a very rural part of the world of the country, and somehow the sirens find me. Where are you going? There's nothing here. It's a hamlet. Where are you? They're coming down this road. Like, what possibly could be going on? Jesus Christ. Anyway, show your support. People wish. Let's pull 3 of these for you, actually. I'm feeling the Nature's Whispers. Bountiful harvest. Who doesn't like that? And that speaks to you setting your targets, setting your goals, and then you get the rewards. That's what comes after that 7 of Pentacles, that patience. Speaks to the overall positivity that's going to be involved in this month. The only little bit of chaos is going to be coming from lack of communication. Even this Mercury retrograde, I don't think is going to hit you that hard. And again, a way to mitigate kind of the main themes or issues that can emerge during Mercury retrograde is just being smart about planning before and ahead of time. It's more difficult for things to go wrong when you have clear logistical plans set out. I'm not saying it's impossible. Things can still get a little wonky, but it's harder for them to get wonky if you are very clear about what it is you will be doing, what you expect. And then if things come up, like it's like, hey, we did everything we could possibly do. Like, it's okay. Shit happens. That's just kind of, sometimes you have to throw up your hands and be like, shit, it's Mercury retrograde. What am I going to do? I also want to be clear with Venus, Mercury, Pluto, Uranus starts to retrograde. There's going to be a 5-month period of Uranus retrograding starting in August. Like, this isn't things going wrong. I think sometimes we take the wrong approach when we're dealing with retrogrades that like, oh, things are going to go wrong in the realm of that planet. No, it's a lot about reviewing what is going on and what has gone on in our life, dealing with the themes with those planets, what those planets represent. So Mercury, we're talking communication, local travel, plans. Venus, we're talking about love, romance, friendships, generosity. Uranus, we're talking about big changes and sudden kind of turmoil, or not turmoil necessarily, but like big shifts in energy. So when these things happen, our ability to review and reflect on them to kind of gain the wisdom that they hold is a big part of what retrogrades are about. And I think we have 5 planets retrograding in August. It's a lot. It's a lot. So just remember that this isn't about things going wrong. It's about what can you learn when things slow down, or you get the opportunity to look at like, oh, there's something that maybe I did that led to this scenario. How did I react? What did I feel like emotionally that led to these feelings popping up, which then led to these situations emerging? Like, what happened here? What can I change in my behavior? Maybe I don't need to change anything. Maybe I just recognize that the people in my life weren't respecting my boundaries or weren't communicating things clearly to me, and I had no way of succeeding. But as long as you're resilient, you persevere, you set your goals, you break down bigger things into component parts this month, you're going to be A-okay. It's not going to be a month of chaos for you. Like I said, there are signs where the energy is just, for lack of a better term, not in their favor. Gemini, it is. There's a lot of positive momentum that you're riding. There's a lot of fun to be had, especially with your friends. That there's some sexual tension going on within either your social group or your partner that is probably going to culminate in a pretty pleasurable way for you. And that's all stuff that's to be enjoyed. It's not to be overlooked or trivialized. It's like there's a lot of fun stuff, and all of this turbulence is very temporary. It's very easy to work through and get through if you have the right kind of prognosis and perspective about where it fits into your life and what it's asking you to pay attention to, right? Issues and complications and chaos don't happen to ruin your life. They are catalysts for growth and transformation, but you have to look at them as such and feel and recognize them as such for that actually to evolve, okay? Of course, the Gemini reading is going to be the shortest of all of them because I spoke a mile a minute. Gemini, it's just your lot in life. Let's pull upright. So this is legacy. This is the card of legacy. It's about familial union. It's looking back at things and recognizing where you have done well, what has worked out. So we're looking at this guy. He's an old and wizened man, and we have his family. We don't know, maybe son-in-law, maybe daughter-in-law, maybe son, maybe daughter, and the 2 dogs there. Those are your Gemini dogs for you. And it's like, hey, when I look back at a life well spent, what were the themes? What were the things that I really did well to build a life that I really look back on and say, yes, I did well? And August is a good month to really set a lot of those themes into motion. Build on the energy that is culminating. See how you deal with obstacles and issues this month. What works out well for you when you put in the time and energy to deal with things slowly, methodically, breaking them down. That gives you a blueprint that you can follow for the rest of your life. So this is like a big month to kind of pay attention to the things that are working and aren't working, drop the shit, cut the shit that isn't working, and absolutely use the things that are working when you're going forward and kind of examining what is going on for the rest of your life, the rest of this year. So there you go, Gemini. You got a good one coming. Just stay the course. Don't freak out. Don't react. You're going to be good. And I will see you soon for another reading. We will be doing Taurus.